Imagine you're a seemingly usual college student going along with your daily life. But behind the scenes, you're planning a high-tech heist that would make even the most experienced thieves jealous. This is the story of Joel Ortiz, a young guy who has turned the digital world upside down. How did a college student manage to steal an astounding $7.5 million? Let's dive in. Joel Ortiz. Joel Ortiz was just a youngster growing up in the heart of Boston. The Ortiz family lived in a place where dreams were often out of reach. It was a modest public housing building where making ends meet was a daily struggle. Joel had always been strange. Even his teachers noticed it. His pals did too. He was eager to learn new things, particularly about technology. While the other youngsters were playing video games, Joel was disassembling old computers and determining how they functioned. As he grew older, his talent only improved. Joel worked hard in high school, and it paid off. He graduated as valedictorian, which made him a source of optimism for his family and community. He received a scholarship to study information technology, and it appeared that he was on track for success. Friends described him as reserved, maybe a little awkward, but undeniably brilliant. The steal. At first, Joel's skills were just a personal achievement, something he quietly perfected. But when he dug more into internet forums, he discovered that coding was utilized for more than simply projects or games. In these digital underworlds, knowledge wasn't shared just to impress. It was exchanged for power, influence, and, of course, wealth. One forum he used piqued his interest. It was an underground marketplace for hackers and cybercriminals, where they could buy and sell social media accounts and swap techniques. As he spent more time there, the allure grew stronger. These hackers were making thousands, if not millions of dollars, using techniques Joel was quite familiar with. The only difference? They used them to take, to manipulate, and to profit. And in the realm of cryptocurrencies, a new frontier with minimal restrictions, the opportunity was too good to pass up. Yes, he was especially interested in one way: SIM swapping. His intelligence was undeniable, but where most people use their brains to build, Ortiz used his to break. SIM swapping. By tricking telecom operators into moving a target's phone number to a different SIM card, hackers might intercept messages and bypass two-factor authentication, thereby taking over their victims' accounts. It was like stealing the keys of someone's kingdom without ever going inside. Was he a mastermind, a technological genius, or a regular thief? The lines blurred as the scope of his plan became clear. Joel was about to step into a loophole that the cybercrime community was aggressively exploiting. He started small and tested the waters. Initially, there were only a few thousand here and there. But the thrill, the ease, the rush, the instant wealth, it hooked him. Small gains weren't enough over time. He raised his sights, focusing on major crypto investors. Yes, Ortiz was an excellent planner. His targets included the digital elite, cryptocurrency moguls, tech billionaires, and anyone with a significant internet presence. He would spend many hours investigating his victims, studying their internet behavior, and finding vulnerabilities. He was a hunter, hiding in the shadows and ruthlessly draining his victims' digital wallets. His online identities were whispered in hacking circles, and each successful crime helped to build his notoriety. But as the money poured in, Joel crossed an invisible line. He wasn't a student anymore. He was a criminal. And he wasn't going to stop. With each successful heist, Joel Ortiz's bank account grew. This wasn't pocket change. He was raking in millions. By the time he'd perfected his SIM swapping methods, he'd taken $7.5 million from his victims in Bitcoin, which he rapidly converted into cash, and he had it all at his fingertips. It was a sensitive operation that required an in-depth knowledge of the telecommunications industry and its vulnerabilities. By imitating the victim, Ortiz can convince the carrier to switch the target's phone number to a SIM card under his control. The moment that SIM was activated, the victim was effectively cut off from their digital life. They lose access to social media, email, and most importantly, their bank accounts. It was a digital blackout, and Ortiz was the storm. Ortiz had complete control over the phone number, allowing him to reset passwords and authorize transactions. The arrest. What he hadn't considered was that each penny he displayed was stolen. He wasn't simply spending. He was happy with his own achievement. To him, it must have felt like he was untouchable, a mastermind living a life of fame and money while laughing at the faces of people he had stolen from. All the while, his targets remained in the dark, watching helplessly as their savings were drained by someone they couldn't see or know. However, the React task force was following his every move, and Joel Ortiz was quickly becoming the most recognizable criminal in the world of cybercrime. They traced his movements, tracked every purchase, and began connecting the dots between Joel and the victims he had bankrupted. They knew they needed the perfect moment, the exact location, to finally bring him down. Joel immediately booked a flight to Europe, a bold decision that matched his lifestyle, a decision he likely thought would strengthen his escape. But for React, it was the last piece of the puzzle. They were preparing to capture him, putting an end to Joel's empire of stolen wealth. At LAX, Joel walked confidently toward his gate, ready to start his life of luxury abroad. However, he had no idea that each step he made was bringing him closer to the end. The React officers closed in, quietly, methodically. In his opinion, he was at the top of the world. In actuality, he was on the edge of losing everything. He was surrounded by React in a matter of seconds, ending his freedom just as swiftly as he had stolen the wealth of his victims. And in that moment, the man who thought he could escape the consequences finally faced them. However, yes, for months, Joel Ortiz lived like a king, surrounded by luxury and enjoying the spotlight. Finally, his arrest caused shockwaves throughout the cybersecurity community. It was an alert and a clear message that the digital world was no longer a safe haven. The victims, once heavyweights of the financial world, were left destroyed. Their trust in technology, which they had relied on for years, was irreversibly harmed. The psychological toll was huge. As the case progressed, people became more aware of the consequences of SIM swapping. It was a crime that had previously been hidden in the shadows, but it was now in the spotlight.